Live from Hallandale Beach, it's Holistic Strides. Hey now, everybody. Welcome to Holistic Strides, a Start With Your Feet production. We are coming to you live on tape from my office in sunny Hallandale Beach, Florida. My name is Dr. Richard J. Rimler, otherwise known as Doc Rick, and I am one of a few holistic podiatrists in the country. I am your host of Holistic Strides, a talk show devoted to taking small but powerful steps down a path to a more holistic lifestyle with an emphasis on foot health and the start with your feet approach to wellness. This includes unique advice on supportive shoes, orthotics, exercise via high intensity interval training, organic nutrition, vitamins and supplements, and stress management. So, why should you watch or listen to my show? The short answer is to achieve better health through self empowerment with the understanding that it all starts with your feet. The idea is to add one holistic principle regularly to your life and gradually transform yourself to better health. Just take it one step at a time. I can guide you since I have undergone the same transformation, therefore, I walk the walk. Today, I will be talking about fungus toenails. Before we get to that, I want to go over what I feel is the most important thing that you can do for your health besides not smoking cigarettes: high intensity interval training, which goes by the acronym HIT. Start by picking your preferred mode of exercise. It could be walking, running, using an exercise bike, treadmill, doing jumping jacks, or swimming. Try to do this close to home for convenience. Try doing it in the morning since it only takes 10 to 12 minutes. That way, you can get it in before work or school. Here is my personal prescription for HIT. Start off with a 20-second fast velocity, followed by a 1-minute slow recovery speed, and do this for 6 intervals. In my case, I go out to the street in front of my house and I sprint for 20 seconds. Then, after the recovery portion of roughly 1 minute of slow walking, I reverse my direction and sprint for 20 seconds once again for the next interval. After doing 6 intervals at 20 seconds fast speed, I then switch to a 15-second fast velocity, followed by the same 1-minute slow recovery speed, and do this for 3 intervals. Guess what? You are now done. The take home point is that the final 3 intervals must be done at a faster speed to reap the health benefits, which are substantial. These benefits include strengthening your lungs and heart, aiding in weight loss by inducing a 12-hour fat afterburn, better oxygenation to your cells, and most notably, being anti aging. Think of it as your own personal stem cell treatment given to you by yourself. I have been personally doing this technique since I first heard about it when I was age 50, and I think that this is one of the main reasons for my continued good health into my 60s. By the way, you can access a free ebook download about HIT, including my prescription, by going to my website, startwithyourfeet.com. You will then find it in the blog section. I invite everyone to incorporate HIT into your schedule and join the Start With Your Feet and Holistic Strides family. Now, let's get to our main topic today, which is fungal toenails, which is a very, very common entity in the podiatry world. Fungus in the toenails is also called onychomycosis, and it's a very common problem today. It can be a difficult problem to treat, especially when using a topical preparation. Here are some reasons why this happens. The number one cause that I feel is the reason for people to get fungus in their toenails is that the shoes are too short. So, this is the number one reason. A shoe needs to be a thumb's width from the longest toe to the end of the shoe. Therefore, shoes such as loafers and house slippers, where you're just putting your foot in without a closure, that kind of shoe is going to force your foot into a shoe that's too short inherently, because if you try to get the right shoe in a slipper or a loafer, or even a pump for that matter, your heel is going to come out in the back. So then it forces the wearer to put their foot into a shorter shoe. Well, the shorter shoe is going to cause micro trauma on the nails. The nails will lift on repetitive trauma, and then with that lifting, fungus can get in. So, a simple solution if you're going to wear a loafer is to put a piece of adhesive felt under the tongue of the shoe, which will act like a lace and will push your foot backwards. So, in lieu of a lace, if you can put a pad under the tongue, it acts like a lace that will hold your foot back and keep your foot away from the end of the shoe, which is the number one cause of fungus in the toes. Another common cause is having diabetes, because diabetics have a diminished immune system and diminished circulation to the toes. And that scenario will make it easier for fungus to get into the toenails. Another and Another reason for people to get fungus in the toenails is for actual blunt trauma to the nail, where the foot is banged into a chair or something, an object is dropped on the toe. And in that case, there can be an injury to the nail, and with that injury can come fungus. A lot of times when patients present, it's up to me to try to determine whether the nail is a fungus nail or an injured nail or a combination of both. A, a fungus nail can be treated as long as the nail is growing. An injured nail that is not growing cannot be treated, even if the patient is taking a top of the line prescription medicine. The nail needs to grow in order for the nail to grow out. So, a lot of times, if an injury to the nail happens where the nail grows from, which is below the cuticle, actually on the bone, then if there is no growth coming from there, there is no way for you to grow out an injured nail to turn it into a healthy nail. So that an injured nail has to be treated symptomatically. A fungus nail can be treated, and there are various levels of treatment, which I'll get to in a little while. Another common cause of fungus, believe it or not, is regular use of nail polish. And so, therefore, it's a good idea to take breaks from using the nail polish. It's also a good idea to use nail polish that's organic, that doesn't have chemicals. The chemicals in the nail polish can lead to a lack of air interchange, which can then lead to fungus. Another problem that leads to toenail fungus is a diet that's high in sugar and white flour, because that's going to be the food that the fungus likes. So, a diabetic, which usually has blood sugar that's higher, that's going to be a condition for fungus. But a diet where there's sugar and fat going through the body is also going to feed the fungus. White flour turns to fat, but white flour raises the blood sugar, and other nutritional entities can raise the blood sugar. And that's going to be the preferred food for fungus and yeast. So look carefully at the ingredients on your foods. Try to avoid white flour. And that's just a general health rule anyway, not just for fungal toenails, but for good general health. White flour, which is found in bread, cookies, cake, pasta, you want to try to limit that as much as possible and go for substitutes that are healthier, such as sprouted bread. Another reason why patients get fungal toenails is a diminished immune system. So, in other words, if somebody is older, their immune system is going to get diminished. If the patient has had some treatment for a systemic arthritis where they're taking immune suppressive drug, that's going to increase the likelihood of fungus in the toenails. So someone with rheumatoid arthritis that's taking an immune suppressant drug, they're going to be more susceptible to getting fungus toenails. So that's why I recommend everybody, all of my patients, to take a probiotic to help build up the immune system, which is going to help fungus toenails and a lot of other things too. It's also going to help digest your food, and it's also going to reduce pain and inflammation. Another way besides a probiotic to improve your immune system is to take a vitamin D3 supplement. So that's going to help your immune system also. So fungus is going to thrive in a person with a weakened immune system. So those two things can boost your immune system. A probiotic, my my recommended dose for a probiotic is 50 billion CFUs with a combination of bifido and lactobacteria in the product. Vitamin D3, I'm usually going to recommend 5,000 international units Monday through Friday. And then on the weekend, just get out in the sun a little, you get some vitamin D that way. With vitamin D, you do need to check your blood levels periodically with your primary care physician, make sure you're in the normal range. But the normal range is very wide, and there is usually a lot of leeway, and the majority of the people out there have a very, very low vitamin D. So you really want to get that vitamin D level up. The best way to treat fungus in the toenail is prevention. So that's why I recommend my patients to use open toe shoes in the house, or even go barefoot if they're not diabetic, rather than a slipper. When choosing a house shoe, I do not recommend a thong sandal because it is unstable. It increases the acceleration of bunions and hammer toes, and you can fall off the shoe. Usually the middle of it is not sturdy. So I'm going to recommend a sandal that comes across the top of the foot. You slide into it. If it's an older patient, I'm going to recommend that they get an orthopedic sandal that comes across the top, but also has a strap behind the heel for more stability. So some common treatments for fungus that I use holistically. So if the problem is mild, then you can attempt to use an over-the-counter fungal treatment or a holistic treatment such as tea tree oil or apple cider vinegar. I tell my patients to put the solution in a dropper, an eyedropper, or better yet, a small spray bottle, and spray into the nail from the tip going into the nail so it can go back a little bit. Try to do that twice a day. If it is a more moderate fungal nail that's advanced, going further back towards the cuticle, one option is to do organic apple cider vinegar soaks. However, that's time consuming, and it is something that sometimes patients will complain about the smell of the apple cider vinegar. They tell me that they need to go out on their porch to do it, but that is a safe way to treat it. However, it is very time consuming, and I usually try not to go that way if I don't have to. For a more advanced fungal nail, I'm going to opt for a prescription topical. So there are two prescriptions that are approved by the FDA, Jublia and Penlac. What I do is I take the Penlac prescription and I have a compounding pharmacy add DMSO to it, which enhances its ability to go through the nail plate. I also have them add a couple extra antifungals to the mixture, and then you have a topical that has improved the efficacy by adding the DMSO. And that's just a nail polish lacquer that goes on top of the nail and under the nail. And that can be an effective way to treat a nail that has fungus that hasn't gotten too thick. Once the nail starts to get thick, then you really have to consider a prescription antifungal, but realize a few things about that. If you're going to go on a prescription antifungal, the nail should be biopsied because there are many, many different categories of fungus. And based on the category, there are going to be different antifungals to take. It could be a yeast. It might not be a fungus. It could be a bacteria. It could be psoriasis. It could be lichen planus. It could be many things. It could be trauma. So before going on oral antifungal, you want to identify the organism. You also want to get liver function tests done before to make sure your liver function is in the normal range. And then after starting the treatment, you want to go get the liver function tests again to make sure your liver function has not elevated from the prescription. But don't worry, it is a self-limiting problem, because if you are on the oral medicine and your liver function goes up, the only thing you need to do is just stop taking it, and then the liver function should reverse without having to do anything else. And then you have to look at other options at that point, because you don't want to affect the liver by treating a fungus. So those are basically the treatments that I'm going to use for treating a fungus nail. I believe in holistic treatments, and there are many. I actually like to take prescription medicine and add a holistic compound to it to not only improve the efficacy, but drastically cut down on, on side effects. So that, in a nutshell, is what you need to know about fungal nails, where the best thing to do is to make sure that your shoes are the proper length. That, first and foremost, is the thing you want to do. You can have the right length shoe, but if the part behind the heel, which is called the counter, if that part is flimsy, then even with the right length shoe, your foot is going to move more, but most notably, it's going to move forward in the shoe more also. So it, that will lead to fungus nails, even with having the 1 inch from the longest toe to the end of the shoe. So here's the trick to deal with that problem. If your shoe is flimsy in the counter, until you can get a shoe that's firmer in the counter, take a tongue pad and adhesive felt, stick it under the tongue of the shoe to make sure that your foot will not be able to move forward. That way, the tongue pad will push you back in the shoe. You'll have more stability. It'll keep you from going forward into the end of the shoe and reduce your chances not only of fungus in the toenails, but of forefoot problems as well. Well, it looks like we are out of here today. I hope you enjoyed the show and learned something new. I want to thank all of my striders for your support. I hope that you guys learned something today and can gradually incorporate this over the next month into your lifestyle. Email me if you have any particular topics you would like me to talk about. Until next time, keep on thinking outside the box in your approach to overall health by looking to your feet as a starting point. Walk strong and live long, my friends. See you next time on Holistic Strides.